My question is as follows. A, could the Cabinet Secretary disclose the food commodities being imported duty-free, stating the approved packaging and container sizes? B, which companies have applied for pre-qualification to import food commodities duty-free from September 2022 to date? And how many of these have been issued with permits to import? Mr. Speaker, question C. How many companies have so far imported goods? And what actions will the ministry take against the pre-qualified companies which have not complied with the terms of engagement? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Is through cabinet direction out of a decision that was made in a cabinet meeting, I was authorized to issue permits to bring various commodities into the country to try and bring down the cost of food in the country. And to that effect, Mr. Speaker, the imports I authorized are as follows. Is that my ministry was also authorized to issue permits to bring in 280,000 metric tons of sugar of 50 kilogram bags. We did advertise for expression of interest for those people that wanted to participate in this. Different importers from all walks of life did apply, and we had a total of 461 applicants. 275 companies were responsive. Out of the 275 companies that we have been, or we issued licenses to participate in the importation of the various food commodities in the country.
For the answers. But, Mr. Speaker, it seems like these cabinet secretaries don't even talk. Because I'm wondering, the CS is talking about rice being sold at 1,800. I think 2 weeks ago, the Minister for East Africa, Madam Miano, was before us. And when she talked about buying relief supplies, she's buying 50 kilograms of rice at 7,500. So is this the same government the CS is talking about when he talks about 1,800? And the CS 2 weeks ago told us she's buying 50 kg for 7,500. I think there must be something terribly wrong here. And I think there is, even the CS who was there before, this is like cartels, corruption in making. You see, how can a government buy 50 kg for 7,500 and the CS here, standing before this August House, is telling us at the price of rice is 1,800. Where did he get these prices from? What is happening? Why are you not talking to the CS, also East Africa, so that you can come up with one price? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I've understood very clearly from the great Senator of Marsabit that it's like two cancers have been brought into the House, which appear to be in conflict. But from where I sit, I want to say very clearly, and I want to be held responsible, that my ministry, or in the course of bringing these commodities to the market, I have not designed, we have not spent a single coin from public coffers. The whole idea was to ensure that we have enough supply in the market, which would be able to cause general reduction of price in our markets through the application of the normal forces of demand and supply. So it's about choice. So what I have done is to ensure for the very common farmer, for the very common consumer of rice, of unga in Kenya today can be able to access rice at a cheap price.
Mr. Speaker, I wish you can allow me to ask a question on livestock. Of course, for us who are pastoralists, we know agriculture and livestock is devolved. And livestock is our tea, coffee, sugar, and everything. Mr. Speaker, I know also very well 85% of the budget is left with the national government. Unfortunately, pastoral communities have lost all their animals to the long drought that took place quite some time back. My question is, and I know the policy of Kenya Kwanza is bottom-up, and there is plan also to accept PPP.
Senator, I'm afraid.
I'm asking the question. I'm just laying my...
We're running out of time.
I will ask my question, Mr. Speaker. I'm just laying my foundation as far as the question is concerned. Mr. Speaker, my question is, how are you ensuring that the standard on the ground is kept as far as livestock production is concerned? And also, there are abattoirs that are built in many parts of the pastoral counties. Are you planning to bring in PPP to increase production so that those abattoirs are useful to the pastoral communities where people can get employment? We can also be able, as pastoralists, to get those dollars back by importing meat to Middle East where the market lies. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And for your information, and very good news for you, that already have completed building or doing the Isiolo abattoir. Right now, the cold rooms are being fabricated in Italy, and will be operationalizing that abattoir very soon. Secondly, we are running a program by the name Drive, which I'm launching on, I think, 14th. And the part of the good things that come with it, because it's in Isiolo, it's in your area, is that we are trying to increase to bring in our farmers to manage livestock in a more orderly manner. We are going to support the production and the rearing of the animals. We are going to create or support you to build the feedlots for you to be able to feed your cows and animals. We are going to contract the farmers to grow pasture for those animals, meaning that we'll be able to bring in more people into employment from those pastoral communities. We are also in the process of we are going to ensure that we have a good market for them. So, because in general, that is what I would want to tell you, and this is something that is beginning in the financial year, in the next few weeks on July.
Question. And I was given these answers very late, and that is not my fault. That is the CS's fault. But I want to put a question to the CS, and it will be a bit broader. Mr. Speaker, there is something I don't understand. There is, according to the CS trade, there was an exemption, duty exemption, for Kenya National Trading Corporation on rice, 150 metric tons, sugar, 200 metric tons, and beans, 80 metric tons. And similarly, there is an exemption that came from Ministry of Agriculture of rice, sugar, and other commodities. And the CS told us they have not used any government money. Mr. Speaker, if the government has given exemption in the tune of billions of dollars, does it mean that the money that was exempted is not public money? Of course it's public money. What I want to ask the CS, Bwana CS, what are you going to do so that between the two ministries, you can sit and discuss and agree on which formula to use? Are you going to use KNTC formula, which is going to be very expensive for this country? Because if you give an order to, KNTC gives an order of commodities, and the goods prices abroad goes down, of course, KNTC is going to lose heavily. So my question is this: what are you going to do to incorporate the importation of goods between your ministry and the Ministry of Trade, so that you concentrate on one way of importing goods? Because the way you are doing, I accept that is the best way to do, because the government is not incurring any cost, any losses. KNTC is going to make heavy losses because of exchange of dollar rates and also price variations. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I would want to ask the Minister, would I be wrong if I ask this Honorable House to initiate parliamentary inquiry to investigate your ministry? Because we are aware your ministry and trade ministry is giving permits below the table. Will I be wrong if I say we need to investigate both ministries, your ministry and Ministry of Trade? Because there are a lot of corruption issues being rumored around, and I want you to answer me in a short formula. Thank you very much.
I'm open and accountable to Parliament, and we cannot stop Parliament from making an inquiry, and we are ready to provide any information if so asked. But the position, Mr. Speaker, is, remember, we are in an ambitious process of trying to open government to scrutiny for everyone. That's why we are running an in-government. And we want to get there 100% by end of year. So sugar importation licenses or whatever it is are done online, Mr. Speaker. So when you want to apply, say you have no contact with anybody, you can go into the AFA portal, make an application. When you have met the requirements, then you even print from your own house. You don't even go to the AFA offices. So that is how open we are in this space. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, when I was answering this question, I said, because we are not procuring, we are only facilitating importation by extending duty waiver as government incentive for people to bring in food or to avail food commodities in the market.